Welcome back to Morning at NTV. The hashtag is just that, Morning at NTV. You are right on time for our Kickstarter conversation, so let's do this together. The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Mathieu Kasaija, described unemployment, income inequalities and malnutrition as a challenge to development in his reading of the Budget 2019-2020. Members of Parliament are seeking to address one of the challenges to development, that's being unemployment, through the National Graduate Scheme Bill, which, if passed by Parliament, will have the jobless university graduates enroll for a year of internship in either government or private entities.
Well, our guest today is none other than Waira Chiwalabye Majegere, who happens to be the Bunya East Member of Parliament. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
And
Good morning.
This is, I don't want to call it fantastic. I don't want to choose sides already, but this is a good suggestion. How did you come to this conclusion?
Thank you, viewers. Viewers. Waira Chiwalabye Majegere is my name. MP Bunya East Constituency Mayuge, that is in Usoga. I'm a leader, a member of Parliament, and I normally move within the community. And it is very sad that we have so many youth graduate and they go in the villages and sit. Some of the graduates goes back like in one of my sub-counties, like Wakabori. There on the lake, he's seated there. Is not connected to the world, is off the world. So it will be there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Even here in Kampala, you find the youth, a younger man, a younger woman is working 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, that they want experience. You and me, you know there is no school for experience. So that challenge, you go to greet your voter, the first thing he will do, he will call his son or his daughter, that you come here so that Majegere can know that you have sat here for 2 years. And a nation doesn't develop a human resource just to put to waste. A human resource is developed, you as a person, to maybe to earn a living, but even the nation to benefit in terms of economic development.
Correct.
So I found it as a big problem that these youth who are really educated are being wasted in the villages. The parent, first of all, the parent is worried. Because he sold his goat, he sold his land to educate this younger man. He's seated at home with this younger man. So I thought, why can't government be deploying these younger men?
You know, Honorable, this is, like you said, somewhat brilliant, because you always look as unemployment, and experts say that if not sorted early enough, this is surely going to be a time bomb. It is a time bomb that we're sitting on, and we've been having conversations with regards to insecurity, and you know, experts still say that what is fueling the major thing that is fueling insecurity within the city is unemployment. You know, we're having a huge number of young people who are energized.
These ones
but
really
they're not
here. It's because they are just unemployed.
Right.
And they are graduates, they are educated. They are not that they are maybe all level what, but they are educated.
Correct. So these are educated young people. So let's first get into the ins and outs of this particular, you know, bill that is actually in its second reading, for us to get to understand it before we scrutinize it. So what exactly does it entail? What happens after? Fine, we are having graduate X like David Rukasi, who has his papers, has been tarmacking for quite a long time. What does the bill entail after that 1 year placement for internship postgraduate? What then happens?
I like the term you have used, tarmacking.
Yeah.
But the bill, that after coming up with that idea, I discussed with my friend. They said, no, we can advance this bill and sell it to our colleagues. And I sold it to the members of parliament. Members of parliament bought it. Actually, we even went outside. We found that other countries were just thinking like Majegere thinking, because they have already, for them, they are very far with this kind of situation. The bill intends to establish a national graduate scheme And that scheme is going to be run by a secretariat. That secretariat is going to be housed in the Ministry of Labour, Gender, Labour and the Social Development, because it is to do with employment training, because other people thought it would be in education. But now this person has finished with education. The next stage is employment.
Correct. So
you have to put it under Ministry of Gender, Labour and the Social Development. So what it's going to do is going to entail government to deploy these younger men and women in government entities, private entities, and even there are those enterprise role models. Somebody is maybe a farmer and is very successful, and you can attach like two younger men, two younger women. Somebody is a businesswoman, a businessman, he has a big business entity and is ready to have some youth. You attach there these youth so that they are engaged. A youth should be engaged. If a youth is not engaged, it's a problem, like you have said. It is a national security matter, like you have said. So what is important is this youth who is not engaged. We are looking at the youth who is not engaged.
Correct.
Should be engaged. And we believe that if this youth is engaged, is where he will get exposure. You will have that network we are talking of, so that he's not cut off from the world. And I think it's the Baganda who said that where a man goes is where he finds his friends or whatever. So we believe that once you are put there, you will be able to connect, to get friends.
So it will be an internship period for 1 year.
It's an internship period for 1 year. And we believe that within that 1 year, at least you have managed to find out your own way. In some cases where you are advantaged that in that organization there are some vacancies, then you are taken on. If you are not taken on, then you can look for another way. But at least you have been engaged. And what we are proposing, because these people will be getting what they call a stipend, not a salary, but a stipend.
Some pocket money.
Some pocket money. Yes. We are saying that, for instance, if you are getting like 300 or 200, there is a balance which is a cut-off. If you are supposed to get 300, you get 250. Then that 50 will remain, will be saved. As a fallback position, as you exiting, then you are given that. Just in case you ate the other money they were giving it to you, or or it was being given to you, or you gave it to your girlfriend or something like that, at least you have this one as a fallback position.
All right.
So that's what we are thinking. We are trying to think left and right such that we get a solution. Otherwise, we cannot just be looking at our youth when they are just idle in the villages as leaders.
Okay.
So, but the question is, before we get them into internship, because the placements have to be there in these places where you want to push them. Have you done an exclusive research to find out whether there are placements in government and private companies as well to have space for these graduates? Because the reason why they are not being employed is because there is no space for them to in this company.
No, it's not like that. I think even you read in papers yesterday that billions and billions are being returned due to low staffing levels. It's returned every year. You read the audit report.
Right.
Every year they returned over 150 billion. Because some positions don't attract, like some positions in the government. For instance, a surveyor. If you take a surveyor in the government, you are going to pay him like 800,000 or maybe 1 million. And this surveyor in a week can make 5 million. So he will not be there. So why can't we have these youth to fill up that gap? Utilize those resources. It's a matter of thinking outside the box.
Honorable, these jobs that, well, like you're saying, you know what, for example, in the financial year 2017-2018, 160 billion was returned back to Treasury because it was not utilized. And government entities came out to say that, hey, we are understaffed and we're not able to find employees that would fit that criteria. So is it just any job level that pretty much the government entities are struggling to find people to fit in, or it's the high level kind of, you know, jobs that need high highly skilled, personnel. What job vacancies were this?
It's not highly skilled jobs. I can give you an example. I have a health center in my constituency. But to get medical officers to work there, medical personnel, it's not easy. Every year you can advertise, people will come and do interviews, and somebody will come on the desk for 1 week. So once somebody comes on the desk for 1 week, it means salary has started doing what? It's coming.
Right.
It's coming, but there is nobody receiving it. So that money it continues to come, but there are no people to receive it. So we think that with this bill, these communities which have never got any of this expertise, they will be able to get it. That we send there these young men, they take that not easy to get expertise from these young men. So we believe that. By the way, another thing, Ministry of Education right now, if you ask anybody in Ministry of Education, they don't know how many graduates we churn out every year. They don't know. Nobody, not even in Ministry of Education. People are talking of 500,000, 400,000, 200,000.
Yes, per year.
Per year. But that's not true. So we are talking of they call it fearing the unknown. Makerere University, I have here the statistics. Makerere University, like in 2016, it had 14,000. So for us to get the research we have been using, like Makerere University, because it is the biggest university, it has 14,000. The second one is Chambogo University. It has 7,000. Then the other universities, they have like 1,800, 1,500. Public universities, we have 7 public universities. The private universities, we have 39 private universities.
Right.
So if you add up, if you say like Makerere has got 14,000, then Jamboga has got 7,000, then you add up, you are between 60,000 and 100,000 a year. We are just looking at rough estimate. So this bill is going even to help a great deal the government
in helping them know how many
graduates because you cannot plan for manpower which you don't know the statistics.
Honorable, so we have graduate David Rukasi, graduated, tarmacked for a bit, and now this bill now finally, we hope, becomes law, gets into, enrolled into this particular private or public entity for him to get his 1-year internship. After that, then what? Do we say that now David Rukasi will go back to, tarmacking, looking for something to do? Or do we say that this bill will also, push for David Rukasi to be, pretty much given that opportunity, just in case there's a vacancy or opening in the company, for him to be assimilated? And the other question is, we all know that companies are struggling. They say that, we cannot take in every person. Most of them actually do have internships for 3 months, 5 months. But most of them are not assimilated. So what next for David Rukasi if he's not assimilated within the company? Won't it be, as good as where he was before?
Actually, I've ever interacted with some of the directors in these factories. For them, they say we are ready because we normally get these younger men, we pay them. But if you give us these younger men for training, they are training. They are giving us a service, and we can even as well sponsor a bit. But that internship, because students are doing internship, but it's a short one, 3 months. There is no standard formula. There is no follow-up system that you know that this one maybe is doing like this. So that one cannot work. So this one of 1 year, if there is a vacancy in that organization, the bill is going to, okay, here it's not clear, but by the time we come out of the committee, it will be clear, because that was the intent. That if the intent of the bill, that if you have come in this organization, you are a graduate trainee, Once there is an opening, you are taken directly. Why should an organization advertise when you have these young men and women, you have trained them, and you know how they, you know their background, because it's you who has empowered them, who has developed them, you know them very well. So you are supposed to take on them. If you cannot take on those young men, then after 1 year, they are going to go away. And when you go away in this bill, you are going to be given a certificate. The minister issues you with a certificate to indicate that actually you have served your government, you have served your nation, your community. It's going to do a great job, because it will even enable the young man who has grown up in Kampala. He has got the first girlfriend in Kampala, the first boyfriend in Kampala. He has studied in Makerere. He gets his first job in Kampala. You will not know that how Mayuge looks. You will not know how Kotido looks. But here, if you have studied in Kampala, you are like a sent in maybe Chisoro. You will go and work there, and you will see how the country is. You learn what people are going through.
Right.
You know how the community is. Actually, we had a chance to go to, I think it was China, one of the countries we went to. For them, they have what they call a village officer. Even the president of China was once a village officer. You graduate, you go to the village. You become, because in a village there are issues of sanitation, there are issues of hygiene, there are issues of all that. People don't have latrines, but you send there a young man. We have villages here who have villages who educated people. They have their young men and women, very educated,
right? But
they have never got that chance to have that skill in the village. The young men and women are here in Kampala, and you find that the village are suffering. But here, these people will be able to go there. The communities, like in Mayuge, Uganda, will be able to have, because now you cannot have a lawyer to go and work in Mayuge.
Correct.
But these young men will go and work there and fill up that gap. At the same time, they are being engaged. At the same time, somebody is, it is to do, it is mentorship. There's what they call a mentorship. Somebody takes you through, you understudy somebody, and you learn, and you get those examples, so that you can also be a man or a woman in your country.
All right.
Mr. Majagiri, is the biggest problem in this country internship? Because we all know how internship works. The youth are complaining about unemployment. You're talking about internship. We know how internship works. Internship works with not that much pay. So this is not, yes, it could be an opportunity for them to get some experience, but it doesn't solve the unemployment issue.
Practical skills, hands-on.
Yes. It doesn't solve the unemployment issue, because people are not complaining that they're not getting internship placements. They're complaining that they're not being employed.
You see, they say a problem once said is half solved. You would rather start on something than just sitting there and you are fearing, then you get stuck. You start on. Then as you go on, you can get solutions. But if you just sit and you put the hands like this, that now for us, you just resign and stay there. Like those young men who go in the village, they sit, somebody is educated, then he starts drinking. The next thing,
right.
The trouser with holes is seated there in the village.
You know, Honorable, last week when you presented this in Parliament, we did have the State Minister for Primary Education challenge you and tell you, you know what, it's okay. It's an amazing proposal, an amazing bill, but the young people are not ready to work on voluntary basis. And this ideally is just voluntary, because they're saying that they're going to get into internship for 1 year. It's not a salary, but just kidogo pocket money, kitu kidogo, just to facilitate them throughout. So by the time you're doing your research, putting together this proposal, and even now that it's in its second reading, did you go a step further to talk to the young people who are unemployed? Are they willing to work for 1 year without pay?
Actually, the minister didn't have information. She's not aware that the government is already running this kind of, actually this bill. What they are doing is exactly this bill, because they are running what they call a graduate volunteer scheme. Much as it is being supported by a foreign donor money, because it's being supported by UNDP. But it's in Uganda, it's in the government of Uganda. Therefore, we have to formalize it within the institutions of what? Of Uganda. The development process of Uganda. They are paying a graduate volunteer between 800 and 1.5. Mm-hmm. It is there. The Minister of Education is not, the minister is not aware, but in the midst of gender, it is there.
Okay.
And they have so far 500 youth. They are targeting 1,000 youth. So if we just sit, then the system is going to be abused, because maybe you didn't even know that it is there, but it's there.
Yes.
And for us, we are looking at a smaller fee. These people are paying that is even beyond. You are no longer a volunteer. If you are getting between 800 and 1,000 and 1.5,
that's a salary.
You are no longer a volunteer. Mm. Because now 1.5 will be catering for about five graduates. For you are looking at one. And by the way, there are even young men and women who are applying to work as volunteers, just to work. Says, I want just to sit there. They are there.
So you're saying that the youth are ready?
They are ready. And I've engaged youth in Western, in Mbarara, we have been in Mbarara, we have been in Masaka, we have been in Eastern.
There's some comments here from the youth. And Oyesije Frank says, a bill cannot solve unemployment. We must look at real causes and realist solutions. Uganda must go into production, and education should provide employable people, not just graduates. So, have we looked into the fact of having employable people? Because we have had a problem with attitude towards work in this country. So it is not just the case of getting people into internship. Do people in Uganda actually want to work? These graduates that we claim are graduates, are they employable?
But as a government or as a leader, you don't just sit. You have to think for somebody in this country
and push them.
In this country, there are those who are there to think for others. That's why we have the leaders. You lead the people.
Okay.
If you just say that because they don't want, then where will the country go?
Honorable, is this like the ultimate solution to unemployment? Because you've also been having conversations with regards to the education system is not also grooming us well enough for us to take up these jobs. It's been a conversation world over, and I think East Africa, so to speak, has been deliberate about this conversation, saying that, you know what, as Uganda, we are still, getting people from other countries to come and fit certain jobs because the education system is not grooming us enough. So do you think that this bill will be the ultimate solution to unemployment, or also it needs to work hand in hand with us, changing the education system so that we ultimately have a solution that is long-lasting and impactful to society?
Yeah, that solution is the one which is not coming very, very quickly, because like he said, this person who sent the message, we need like factories. But if those factories are not coming,
they're opening every single week almost.
Yeah, but they are opening almost every week. But is it absorbing all the youth? We still have youth in the villages.
Then we should address why is it not absorbing all the youth?
Yeah, as we address that, because now this youth will not wait for you to get those factories. Supposing you get those factories which can absorb all the youth in 2040. Will the youth still be there waiting? There's already edging up.
There's another one from Monica Abubeka who says, Monica Sentivi, the economy cannot attain a state full of employment, but rather near full employment. This bill will not do any better if you, that our dear MPs, are increasing your own salaries to infinity. Others are not willing to leave office even when their retirement is due. Let's deal with corruption and nepotism. Why would some individual print over 90 billions for himself? Systems have failed. Volongoto.
Now that one is just a disgruntled viewer.
He has a point.
He's just disgruntled.
He has a point. He has a point because you see the points here are 1, 2, 3. Corruption is 1. 2 is he has a point when he says, well, you the people in office don't want to leave office. People are reaching their retirement age and still don't want to leave office.
I've talked to the youth so many times on so many forums. I've talked to the youth in Western, in Central, Eastern. Actually, we are going even in the North. The youth, they talk as they don't know that they will reach the age bracket of retirement. The way they talk as if they are supposed to be there.
They're going to be young forever.
They are going to be younger forever. But where you are as a youth, it is a transition. You're on transition to the other side.
But you're not giving them a smooth transition to the side where you are.
No, this is what we are saying. That we don't want you to be idle.
Okay.
You got education for 3 years at the university. You have finished. You had the highest, so many expectations. You are not getting them. If you are not getting these expectations, we are saying no. You can be at least be here as you try to nurture your what? Your expectations.
And also, what the other thing you're saying is that once you have been, in this particular company, either private or government agency, you will get the skills for 1 year. It doesn't mean that you must be employed or assimilated. You can use the same skills to start your own enterprise, your own business. So it's pretty much exposing you.
I'll be talking to you. You are getting exactly what I mean.
All right, okay. So, Honorable, as you bring this to a wrap, what are your last remarks? That's your camera. Speak to all the stakeholders. You can also speak to the young people. Once this becomes a law, just speak to them in terms of them changing their attitude and, embracing this for a better Uganda. That's your camera.
Yeah, you just pray for us. The bill is before the Committee of Gender. They are scrutinizing it. When it comes to the floor of Parliament, you ask even your member of Parliament to support. And once it goes through, we believe that you'll be able, you the youth, by now for you will not be able to benefit.
Okay.
But the youth coming, your brother coming on board, or your sister coming on board, will be able to benefit and will be engaged, and maybe from there will get the experience, will get the skills which can enable him or her to manage and live in this wide world.
All right.
Thank you very much, our guest today, for our Kickstarter conversation, Mr. Waira Chewalabye Majegere, Bunya East Member of Parliament.
Yes,
your proposal is quite a good one, and hopefully it goes through and benefits the youth, unemployed youth in the country, and hopefully eases the unemployment in the country. That's it for our Kickstarter conversation. Thank you very much for the guys on our social media platforms that have some feedback that you're sharing. As we go on with the show, we'll make sure that we share more as well. If you have something that you want to chip in with, you can do that. The hashtag is morning@NTV. We'll be back as we get into our Tech Note conversation. Morning at NTV continues right after this.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
There's always something happening in Kampala, and of course we cannot miss to be there if it's new, if it's interesting and entertaining. So stay right here, we're getting right into it.